Welcome to T-Boys TV. We're back again. Well, shall I say we're back again? We're here for the first time this season for League Cup predictions. Obviously, round of 16 games. Obviously, the League Cup, as we always know, is the tournament in England that's always done the earliest. And obviously, Liverpool are the current holders of it. Obviously, beat Chelsea in it last year. Do you know what I'm saying? I had to get that one in. And obviously, round of 16 games. So obviously I will be doing my predictions to them. Some interesting games. There's always one banana skin where the underdog wins. It's more in the FA Cup, but you still do see it in the League Cup. Obviously, you saw it with quite a few fixtures in the last round. Blackburn beating West Ham, which to a lot of people wasn't really a shock, given how Blackburn were doing at the time in the Championship and still doing decent. Obviously, got a win against Norwich. And then obviously, like the Gillingham result, won on penalties against Brentford. They've got another Premier League tie. So we'll see. We will see what goes on in this one. Will there be any shocks? You have to wait and see. But let's go through some comments. Chris says, I'll be at work by the time you see this. So he's put in his predictions for the other games as well. Yep, I'll get into them. Probably at the end for yours. And then he also says winner of City versus Liverpool wins the whole thing in my opinion. Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. It links to what I've said in the title, potential winner out, because obviously Liverpool are the holders as well. And usually the holders, they keep it for a few years, especially in recent years, especially if you're Man City. But obviously that didn't happen last year. Liverpool took that off them. Liverpool's my second team. Do you know what I'm saying? Luton Town's my first team, but Liverpool is my second team due to family. So I did have a Man City flag up, but it kept falling. So yeah, I just couldn't be arsed with it in the end. But let's get into it. So the first game we're going to look at, I've done it with the slides, and then what I'm going to do after. So I'm going to say my predictions, my sort of preview going into these games. And then I'll put up all my predictions and we'll go through them again at the end. Obviously the first game, Wolverhampton Wanderers, a Premier League side, taking on Gillingham Football Club. Now, I did actually watch a Gillingham game a couple of weeks ago when they played Dagenham and Redbridge in the FA Cup. That was actually a really good game. Proper limbs, Dagenham and Redbridge took the lead. Matt Robinson, former Luton player, scored the goal, rapper as well as a footballer. Very good player. He scored, but Gillingham did bring it back literally the last attack of the game to make it 3-2. Very good game to watch, I'm not going to lie, and I'm glad I did in the end. And that was in the FA Cup. Obviously, Wolves, they're not really a side I rate in the Premier League. I did say they'd be in the relegation battle this year. Did I say they'd get relegated? I can't even remember. It's been so long. Obviously, the World Cup and all that. I don't think I did, but I said they'd be in the battle. I'm not too convinced by them. These teams in the previous rounds, like I said, Gillingham done that brilliant, display against Brentford as well, winning on penalties, bringing it to a penalty shootout away from home as well. I thought Brentford were going to batter them. I remember doing my predictions. I think I said 4-0 or something like that. As for Wolves, obviously narrowly beat Leeds United. I think I said Wolves win. I'm pretty sure. But the favourites are obviously Wolves. They're the Premier League side. They're at home. But I think this is going to be a closer game than people think. Wolves are not, like I said, for me, they're that Premier League side I'm not overly convinced by. And Gillingham, they've knocked out Brentford away from home. Brentford are better than Wolves, in my opinion. So anything could happen here. Anything could happen. How do I see this one going? I'm going to say 1-1. In 90 minutes, I reckon it'll be that close. And then Wolves win on penalties. That is my prediction. Honestly, I think it will be that close. I think Wolves will rotate quite a bit as well. And like I say, Gillingham, they're not doing great in their league. But I know, cup competitions, they do well. Like I say, come back against Dagenham and Redbridge in the FA Cup. Knocked out Brentford in the previous round. So I reckon it's going to be closer than people think. But we'll see. We will see. But yeah, moving on to the next game, Nathan Jones, Red and White Army. Obviously, Nathan Jones back managing. Obviously, his last game was before the World Cup, and that was obviously Liverpool versus Southampton. Took a defeat there, but you're always going to take a defeat most of the time at Anfield. Taking on Lincoln, who Lincoln obviously won very heavily in their last game. They beat Bristol City 3-1. I think I said 2-1 Bristol City, if I'm correct. Absolutely battered them in the end. Again, I know they're not doing so great in their league. Not as bad as Gillingham, for example, but I know they're sitting mid-table. They're sitting 14th. Southampton, obviously, it's a new process, you could say, with Nathan Jones. And it's going to be an interesting one. Nathan Jones' first game at home. How heavily is he going to rotate? Who's he going to play? What sort of main starters might he potentially play? It's going to be interesting. Southampton obviously went to penalties. They were at home in their last fixture. They obviously took that 2 penalties against Sheffield Wednesday, who, again, are another good side. I rate Sheffield Wednesday. They are a decent side. And maybe even if that was at Sheffield Wednesday, I wouldn't be surprised if they nicked it. But obviously, that went to penalties. Like I said, Lincoln got an emphatic win away from home against Bristol City, side in the Championship as well. Obviously, Lincoln in League One. I think Southampton will win, but again, I think this will be another close game. I'm going to back Southampton to do it in 90 minutes. I'm going to go over 2-1. Nathan Jones gets his first win as Southampton manager. I'm going to go 2-1 to Southampton in this one, and I think Lincoln might make it a tighter game than people think. Moving on to the next game, Premier League encounter. That is obviously Newcastle United at home versus Bournemouth. Obviously, Newcastle United went to penalty shootout, I think it was, against Crystal Palace, I'm pretty sure. It was, in fact, because I said a Crystal Palace win in 90 minutes. I went for a 2-1. I was very close. And then Bournemouth absolutely smashed Everton. I know I predicted a Bournemouth win, I'm pretty sure, in that game, just not as one-sided as it was in the end. This one's going to be an interesting one. Another close game for me. You could say the Eddie Howe derby as well, like Lennon said there in the comments. It's going to be an interesting one. See what the teams do, see how they rotate, etc. How do I see this one going? Like I say, all the 3 games I've predicted so far, I've predicted close games. These sides, the last time they played at St James's Park was in the Premier League this season, earlier on, around about September, I believe it was. That was a 1-1 draw. I'm going to back Newcastle due to them being at home in this one. I'm going to back Newcastle. Probably if Bournemouth were at home, I'd probably back them. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to back Newcastle in this one. I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1. Another 2-1 to another side. Lennon's prediction earlier, I didn't read it out. He said 2-0 to Wolves. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. But moving on to the next game, which is MK Dons, Lennon, the team you've been waiting for. Obviously, your team taking on Leicester City. Obviously, if Luton, beat Newport, we would have had Leicester away. Say if we beat Leicester away, which we probably wouldn't have, we would have then played MK Dons, which is obviously a derby. Not a big derby compared to Watford, but it's still a derby for us. That would have been good. But obviously, we'd have probably lost to Leicester, in my opinion. And we don't like going past round 2 of the League Cup. We're allergic to it. Do you know what I mean? So there you go with that one. MK Dons versus Leicester. How do I see this one going? Obviously, MK Dons in the league, not doing so great. Obviously, they're doing similar to Huddersfield, but in League One. They're fighting relegation after getting playoffs last year. Leicester, they haven't played for a while. Of course, MK Dons obviously played at the weekend. Beat Portsmouth 2-0, which was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. Portsmouth aren't all that, but just the position MK Dons are in, I was impressed with it. MK Dons, no offence. Well, I couldn't really care. They're one of our rivals. We know they can't sell out whatsoever. I wouldn't even be surprised if Leicester brought more fans. Do you know what I mean? Like, real talk. I remember Wickham done it in the playoffs last year. Again, that's a derby as well with MK Dons. I just think it's going to be... I think this might be the first game where I think it's a comfortable win for someone. And when I say that, I don't mean a lot of goals. I just think it'll be one of them. Leicester will be in control for the majority of the game and the quality will shine through. That's what I reckon in this one. I'm going to go with the MK Dons 0, Leicester City 2. So, yeah, like I said, at the end of this, I will go through my predictions again. But, yeah, this is the way I'm going to do it because what I usually do to do my Prem predictions, Championship and all that, you can't do it for the League Cup, which is a little bit annoying. I don't think you could do it for the FA Cup as well. So when it comes to that, it's going to be frustrating. That's for sure. But I'm just seeing quickly if I can save it because I have done one where I've just put the scores and I've put arrows to do who I think is going to win on penalties and etc. So let me just save it quickly because I didn't do that earlier. There we go. Right, it should have worked now. Big up Blue Terrier in the chat. He says hello. He says don't compare us to MK Dons. Joking. Nah, I don't mean it like that. I just mean like the positions you're both in. But you know what I'm saying anyway. You know exactly what I mean. You both got playoffs in your leagues, but obviously now not doing so great. But moving on to the next game, Charlton Athletic, obviously a team from London taking on Brighton. Obviously Charlton in the last game, I can't even remember what they'd done. I'm not going to lie. Brighton emphatically beat Arsenal away at the Emirates, which was a shock to a lot of us. Obviously, Brighton have had that capability of beating Arsenal in recent years at the Emirates, even at home. Obviously, we'll know about that memorable one. More pay, you're a cheat and all of that. Do you know what I mean? But I was very surprised with that, how emphatic it was. I did feel sorry for the Arsenal fans that didn't go to that game, I'll be honest, because you couldn't even watch it at all, which was just ridiculous in my opinion. But obviously taking on Charlton, who obviously are in League One. I think they're very hit and miss from what I see. I don't really follow much of them. You know, how do I see this one going? I know at the Valley, it can be a very good atmosphere. Obviously, all these games are night games as well. So the atmospheres, even though it's, people say it's a League Cup, I still expect, these sort of games to be decent. Again, I've gone for another close game in this one. I'm going to go over 1-1 Brighton on penalties. And that might sound like a shock to some people, but I think Charlton will put in a really good performance. But when it comes to penalties, I think Brighton will do it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a Brighton win on penalties. Hanno says, hello. Kenny said he liked Swansea, so I'll put him backstage. Oh, my days. But, yeah, moving on to the next game, which is Blackburn, who obviously, like I mentioned at the start of the stream, got a good win over Norwich away in the Championship the other day, 5:30 kickoff. Taking on Nottingham Forest, who have been out in Spain for their pre-season, or well, not pre-season, getting back into the swing of things, shall I say. And they did beat, who was it? Valencia. Yeah, that was it, 2-1. And they're looking decent, I'm not going to lie. But I think this is a game where Blackburn might want it more, because obviously Nottingham Forest fighting relegation in the Premier League. I think they want to focus a lot more on that. Blackburn obviously beat West Ham in the last leg as well, or last tie, shall I say, which might not have been a shock to a lot of people, given the form West Ham were on. But again, it should, be the underdog story still in that one. It's obviously that, Blackburn are a league lower. How do I see this one going? Now, this is probably my most shocking prediction in the sense where you lot will be shocked with it. Like I said, I think Nottingham Forest, their main priority, they'd rather focus on, trying to stay in the Premier League than this game, in my opinion. Blackburn, as much as they're, aiming to try and get promoted, I just think they'll want this more, especially being at home. I'm going to back Blackburn, and I'm going to back them quite emphatically, to be honest with you. This is going to be a shock to people, I can already tell. I'm going to go Blackburn 3, Nottingham Forest 1. There you go. You heard it here first. Bang. There you go. We'll see what happens there. Moving on to the next game. Manchester United taking on Burnley. Obviously, Burnley high-flying in the Championship. Brilliant comeback in their last game against Crawley in the Cup. As for Man United, they had a really thrilling game against Aston Villa. I was going to do a watch-along to that. Gutted I didn't in the end. What a game that was, especially in that second half. Kompany, what people have to take into account in this game, if you haven't already. Kompany, obviously the current manager of Burnley, obviously Man City legend as a player, one of the Man City legends anyway. He'll want to haunt Man United. It's not going to be an easy game for Man United. I'll tell you that. Even though they're looking all right again, Burnley, like I said, high flying in the Championship. Also the fact, like I say, the Kompany thing. United last year, they lost to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. I remember that at Old Trafford. So the Championship teams, they definitely have a capability, especially the higher ones, of going, to Old Trafford and doing something. United might rotate a little bit as well. It's going to be a difficult one. I don't think it's going to be a walkover. Again, it's another tight game that I've predicted. I'm going to go Manchester United 1, Burnley 0. I think Burnley will put up a very good game, but I think United will just sneak it. So yeah, that is my prediction for this one. And then moving on to the next game, the last game, the final game. Obviously, Man City versus Liverpool. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be doing a watch along to it. It's good to be watching, be watching Liverpool again in something that actually matters. Couldn't give a toss about this Super Cup. I get that players need to get into the swing of things and that, but I'm not interested. People messaging me going, "Oh, you got battered." Like, I didn't even know we was playing until the day, the day it said the other team scored, or whoever it was, AC Milan or whatever. So yeah, this one's going to be a massive game, of course. Obviously, City won the League Cup numerous amount of years in a row. Liverpool took that off them last season, and obviously, like I say, in the title, potential winner out, because these lot will be the favourites. Like Chris said earlier in the comments, he said whoever wins this game, he reckons will win the whole thing, which, I don't think I can really disagree with, to be honest with you. Liverpool, they do well against Man City. They have a very good record against Man City. A lot of people thought Liverpool were going to get battered in the Premier League game. Obviously, Liverpool ended up winning that game. Lineup, it's going to be interesting for both teams because we know, squad depth is good for both teams. Liverpool's is getting slightly better. I still need more. I'd still say Man City have the better squad depth. But it's going to be interesting to see who plays. I won't get up the lineup thing. I'll just go with what I'd probably go with. And also due to the fact, it's the first game, not counting the Dubai stuff. It's the first game after the World Cup. So you might see some bigger names start for both teams. So yeah, this is what I would go with. So Kelleher in goal, the Irish Iker Casillas. Do you know what I'm saying? It's already announced. Klopp said it anyway that he's going to play every single game in this League Cup. So that's a straightforward one for me. Obviously, we know if it does go to penalties as well, how good he is. Right back, I'm going to go... injury news, I think most people are right as well. Obviously, Diaz isn't. I know that injury is longer, and Jota. But other than that, I think we're sound. So I'm going to go... Right back, I'm going to go Calvin Ramsey. I thought he actually had a really good game against Derby. So I'm going to go Calvin Ramsey right back. I know Trent's in New York as it is as well, so I don't think he'll be back for the game. Or if he is, I think he'll be on the bench. Left back, I'm going to go Shimikas. I want to go a bit stronger because obviously this is away at the Etihad. I do want to actually go on to try and win the League Cup, especially, to try and retain it. Get one over City is always good as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go Shimikas left back. Centre backs, I'm gonna go Nat Phillips. I'm gonna go Nat Phillips, and Konate won't because he shouldn't because he's just coming back from the World Cup. Konate and I'll go Matip. No, sorry, Nat Phillips and Matip. Sorry. And then I'm going to play a 4-3-3, of course. Midfield, I'm going to go... Fabinho. Thiago, obviously Thiago didn't get picked for Spain as well, so he should be raring to go. And Elliot, I'm going to go Elliot on the right. He looks well motivated to get the second half of the season underway. So I'm going to go with him. Like I say, I would go a lot stronger because it is Man City away. And I do actually want to win this game and try and win the whole competition. So Elliot on the right of the midfield, and then up front on the left. So you've got no Diaz, got no Jota. Carvalho on the right. Salah. Obviously Egypt weren't in the World Cup as well, so he'll be raring to go. And then up front, Firmino. I'm going to go Firmino. So yeah, it is a strong lineup. But at the end of the day, like I said, I want to win this. It's away against Man City. We know how good their rotated squad can be, or at least with them with a bit of rotation. And I do want to win this. I do want to win this competition, especially after the season we've had. To retain the League Cup, it would be, it'd be good. So yeah, that's the line I'd go with. Score prediction. It's always difficult against Man City. I knew we'd get some sort of result when we played them in the league. I said a draw. A lot of people thought we was going to lose that. I'm going to say 2-2 in 90 minutes. Liverpool win on penalties. Irish Iker Casillas comes in clutch again. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. A Liverpool win. And we do well. We have a really good record against Man City. So yeah, I'm going to, even in the League Cup, I think they've only beat us once or twice. We've played quite a lot of times in there. So yeah, man. I'm going to go with a Liverpool win on penalties. So yeah, they are my predictions. So what I'll do quickly before I wrap this stream up, let me just get rid of that. And I'll just rewind my predictions and go through the rest of your comments quick. Let me do it. So bear with me a second. While this decides to load. Wants to be slower than Per Mertesacker, do you know what I'm saying? It's not what you want. So yeah, but big up away, so I can see you in the comment as well. In the comments, sorry, I don't know why I said it in the comment. He says, big fucking game, let's have it. Yeah, exactly. Even though it's League Cup, still Liverpool versus Man City. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, this should be the new one. Yes, it is right. It's just sorting itself out. I think we had you boys because we're at home, but big up Tyler Lowe. Big up yourself. No, I hear what you're saying, but I'm confident. Like I said, a lot of people, I know it's Premier League, it's different, and we will rotate quite a bit. I think Liverpool goes stronger than what people think now, especially the fact a lot of players are raring to go, didn't play in the World Cup, and it is Man City away at the end of the day. Yeah, right, it's come up now. But yeah, I know what you're saying, and plus we have a good record against you guys overall, so I'm gonna go with us, like I said. And Pep loves the League Cup as well, one of his favourite tournaments this year. I want to try and get it back, but like I said, after the season Liverpool have had, I want to try and win this whole competition. Do you know what I mean? And then, like I said, the League Cup always ends early as well, so that would give us a bit of confidence if we went on to retain it, and give us confidence to try and go for maybe other stuff. Not the league, that's probably done, let's be real. But like Champions League, you never know. If we do Real Madrid, we got a very good chance. But we'll see. Hanno says, let City go through. Let them play more games, please. Yeah, the League Cup ends February, March time. Yeah, exactly. But these are my predictions. So the arrows are for the team, I reckon. So if I reckon it'll be a draw, the team I've moved the arrow to is who I reckon will win on penalties. So I've gone Wolves on penalties. I think it'll be closer than what people think. I know Gillingham not doing great in their league, but I'm not overly convinced by Wolves, and they don't really score a lot of goals. And Gillingham in the Cup have done well in the Cup competitions. Like I said, come back against Dagenham and Redbridge, and beat, obviously, Brentford in the last round away from home as well on penalties. So I reckon they can bring it to penalties again, but not quite win for me. Next game, obviously, Southampton versus Lincoln. Obviously, Nathan Jones, do you know what I'm saying? First game back since the Liverpool game. First game at home. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see what he does rotational wise, who he plays, etc. But I'm going to back Southampton, especially them being at home. I think it will be tight though. Obviously, Lincoln did get an emphatic win in the last round against Bristol City, which I was very surprised about. I did say it'd be a close game, but in the end, Lincoln just slapped them up. Do you know what I mean? And I said Bristol City would win. But I reckon it'll be close, but I'll go 2-1 Southampton. Nathan Jones gets his first win under the as the Saints boss. So yeah, there we go with that. Hanno says, fuck Nathan Jones, come on Lincoln. You know what I mean? So he don't like Nathan Jones. There you go. Now I still like Nathan Jones. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people call him a snake. I personally think that's ridiculous because at the end of the day, you're not going to turn down a Premier League club. The only Premier League club I would have questioned if he went to is Bournemouth because they just come back up. And I call me deluded. I don't think Bournemouth are much better than Luton, to be honest. Yeah, they're in the higher league and that, but at the end of the day, they narrowly beat us. We come back and beat them last year. We both beat each other once. Do you know what I mean? Let's not forget, their second place until the later stages of the season was under pressure. Yeah, so I don't think we're far from them. And they're, Southampton, as much as they're in a relegation battle as well, they are an established Premier League team. Let's be real. And he wants to show they can do it. You get more money at the end of the day. You're not going to turn it down. I'm not frustrated at him. Big up yourself for everything you've done at Luton. Do you know what I mean? But I've said that plenty of times anyway. Do you know what I mean? I always have respect for the guy. I wouldn't take him back again, even though they say third time lucky. I think that would be taking the piss. But never got anything wrong to say about the guy. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I remember when it was announced that he was going to leave, I actually got upset. Like, I was on the phone to my dad. So, yeah, big up Nathan Jones, man. Big up to him. I hope he does well at Southampton. I hope he proves people wrong, and I believe he will. But we'll see. Nathan Jones will always be one of Luton's greatest ever gaffers. 100%. Well, he's the best one I've seen in my life. But obviously, I'm not as old as other Luton fans. Do you know what I mean? So, he's definitely the best one I've seen. Just the journey we've had, under him has just been absolutely phenomenal. But Rob Edwards, Barmy Army. That's what we're on now. So, yeah. But the next game, obviously, Newcastle versus Bournemouth. See a Premier League encounter. I've gone with a close game in this one again. They did play each other around about September in the Premier League at Newcastle. And that was a 1-1. Newcastle, I reckon, will edge this one more just due to the home, being at home, really. The home factor. If Bournemouth were at their ground, I'd probably maybe back them. But yeah, I'm going to go Newcastle. It'd be interesting to see what both teams will do. Nathan Jones will be clear of Graham Jones. Don't even mention Graham Jones as a manager. Mention him as a coach because he's clearly good as a coach. Like I've said numerous amount of times, he's been around. He's been in the England setup. But even then, they still want to keep Southgate, which makes me laugh. But, he's been around Newcastle. He's been around a lot of teams. So as a coach, he's good, but a manager, absolutely useless. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go for in this one. Moving on to the next game, obviously MK Dons versus Leicester. Obviously, if Luton beat Newport, then Leicester, we would have got MK Dons. But I don't think we'd have beat Leicester, especially away from home. I'm going to go with, I think it's going to be one of them, like I said earlier, where it's going to be a comfortable win for Leicester. I think they'll just dominate the whole game. They'll probably bring more fans than MK Dons. 2-0. 2-0 Leicester have gone for in this one. I would say I hope James Justin scores, but I think he's still injured, unfortunately. And the gutting thing is, he did score against Newport to put him in the lead. So he's probably thinking, you score against Luton, yeah? I'll score against you guys. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, big up to him, man. Hopefully speedy recovery. It's gutting as well, because he could have potentially got a shout for England, especially with all the fullback injuries and that, but it's one of them. But yeah, moving on to the next game, Charlton versus Brighton. Again, I think this is going to be a closer game than what people think, especially if it being at Charlton. I've gone for a 1-1 in 90 minutes and Brighton win on penalties. So yeah, man, that's what I've gone for in that. And then the next one, this is probably the biggest shock to people. Blackburn 3, Nottingham Forest 1. I just think Nottingham Forest want to focus more on the league. Blackburn, as much as they'll want to focus on trying to get promoted, playoffs, etc., I just think they'll want it more. They're at home as well. So yeah, man, I'm going to go with that. And there always is a game that is a high-scoring one So there you go with that one. Moving on to the next game, Man United versus Burnley. I think this will be a tight game. I think there's a lot of things that will make it tough for United. Kompany, that factor. You know, obviously he's a Man City legend. He'll want to try and haunt Man United. It'll be a tough game for United, but I do see him edging it. But again, I wouldn't be shocked if it was the other way round. You know, United do have the capabilities of losing in, you know, competitions to lower league teams. Obviously, it lost to Middlesbrough last year in the FA Cup. Remember that on penalties. So anything could happen. And Burnley high flying in the Championship, like I said earlier. But I'm going to go with United to edge it. I think it'll be a lot closer. Well, a lot of people think it'll be close, majority of people, but I'll go 1-0. I'll go 1-0 to United. Burnley bringing 7K, I've heard. Yeah, fair play. Fair play, they probably are. You know, and I know Middlesbrough, when they beat them, they brought a lot as well. So that could play a massive part. But yeah, and then obviously the last game, Man City, Liverpool. I've gone 2-2, and then Liverpool to win on penalties. Both teams rotate a bit. Obviously, we know City have got the better squad depth. Liverpool's is getting there, but still need more. But I just think Liverpool will do it. We have a good record against Man City overall. And even in the League Cup, like I said, I think they've only beat us like once or twice. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. So they are my predictions for this week's round of 16 League Cup ties, Carabao Cup ties, whatever the hell you want to call it. Waste reckons a Vincent Kompany effect. It could play a part, mate. It could play a part, like I said. I'm just going to go with United just to edge it. So, yeah, they are my predictions. And like I said, I will be doing a watch-along on Thursday to Man City versus Liverpool. That'll be the next load of content on the channel. And then after that, obviously, I'll let you know what days I'm doing what. Obviously, we've got Christmas coming and that. So, yeah, I think me and my dad are going to do the Hat Show on New Year's. Not New Year's, sorry. On, what's it called? Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. So, yeah, I know that for sure. So, yeah, man. Big up everyone that's checked this out. Big up everyone that liked before, by the way. We ended up on double figure likes before we went live. So, big up yourselves for that. I know people watch this back on playback as well. So, please do smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hanno says, come on, Newcastle. How come you want Newcastle to win that? That's an interesting one. I'm just trying to see what the like counts ended up on, but my laptop just don't want to load. It does, but it just wants to be slower than Per Mertesacker. Do you know what I mean? So wait for it to actually do what I want it to do. There we go. Right, so we've ended up on 13 likes so far. So yeah, man, big up yourselves. Make sure you do smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me just see if we've got any new subscribers during this one. No new subscribers. What is going on with this charger? It's more inconsistent than flipping Blackburn. And I can say that because we beat them. So yeah, man, that is that. Hanno says, want to come on the watch along to the Sheffield United game? I'll probably just watch you, mate. I'll probably just watch your stream. I'm definitely going to watch it. I'm looking forward to watching that. And that's why I went live at 6. Away says, big up T and chat in a bit, fellas. Yeah, big up yourself, Aways. Want them to play more games so they can fall in the Prem. Okay, fair enough then. Fair enough, I suppose. But yeah, don't forget to smash a like on the stream if you haven't already. Like I say, if you do watch on playback, please do smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new as well. Let me know your score predictions. Actually, I've just remembered to talk about score predictions. Chris done his at the start. So let me just go through and see if there's any similar to what he said. So exact same score for Leicester. Newcastle, he's gone 3-1. I said 2-1. Southampton, he's said 3-1 against Lincoln. I was thinking that, but I'm going to go 2-1. I think Lincoln will make it closer than people think. Nathan Jones also still getting into the swing of things. He'll rotate it quite a bit. 3-0 Wolves against Gillingham. Fair enough. Blackburn 1-1, Nottingham Forest. Blackburn to win on penalties. A lot of people I've seen have said that. Charlton to lose 3-1 against Brighton. Fair enough. Man United 3-1 Burnley. So I think Chris is the first person I've heard that's not said it'll be as close as what others think. And then Man City, he's gone 2-2 as well with Liverpool, but he's gone Man City to win on penalties. Oh, hopefully not, mate. Hopefully not. But yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, that is the end of the stream. Like I said, next load of content will be on Thursday when I do a watch along to the game between Manchester City and Liverpool. I believe it's at 8 o'clock kickoff, if I'm correct. So yeah, if that is the case, then obviously I will go live at 10:02. I'm just going to have a quick look what time that is real quick. It wants to load. Can't understand why this being so slow. Yeah, 8 o'clock. So yeah, I'll go live about 10:02, like always. So yeah, man. Don't forget to smash a like on the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Share the channel as well. And yeah, if you do want to follow me across any of my socials. That's what I tried saying. Link to them are in the description. And yeah, subscribe to my other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra. Link to that is also in the description. And yeah, hopefully I'll see many of you lot on Thursday. Hopefully Liverpool win and try and go on to win the whole thing again. That would be nice. At the end of the day, it's a final at Wembley. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, we'll see what goes on. But big up yourselves, stay safe, take care, and peace. Up the Reds. Come on.